Hey guys, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. And today we are reviewing the Rogue Fitness CB-4, which is the latest Buffalo type bar. This is Rogue's first take on it. I think the bar that it's most similar to, and we are going to compare it to, is the Kabuki Duffalo Bar. In addition to that, we'll compare it to the French Sport Longhorn Bar and the Titan Yukon Bar. So, let's review it. First off, this bar was designed for the heaviest lifters in the world. It was designed in partnership with Westside Barbell. Is that a good idea? I sometimes think it's not. I think it's a good idea to test products with the strongest lifters in the world, because if it can work for them at their weight limits, it can work for others. It's never gonna break. But the problem is the bodies of those people are so much bigger and different from the bodies of the most home gym owners. I sometimes question if they're the best audience to provide advice on a bar that ultimately will be in the hands of home gym owners that weigh literally half as much and squat probably a third or a fourth of most of those people. That said, I do think it's pretty cool that there's that partnership there between Westside, the strongest gym in the world, and Rogue Fitness. In fact, the reason that it's as thick as it is because supposedly at some of the heavier weights that Westside uses, a thinner steel was providing too much bounce, which is insane to think about because they're squatting, box squatting like 1,200 plus pounds. Now, this shaft, I think, is the most unique thing. It's a 38 millimeter shaft. That is one of the thickest, if not the thickest Buffalo bars that's out there. Some people, that could be a negative. In my opinion, that is very much a positive. I would not want that thick of a bar for a bar that I'm doing any sort of pulling, deadlifting, that sort of thing. But this bar is not designed for pulling. It's designed for pressing and squatting. A greater surface area, up to a certain point, I think is very beneficial. It provides more comfort on the back and more comfort in the hand when pressing and squatting. The 38 diameter, I actually absolutely love that decision. Even though it was designed really for Westside and guys that big, I think it translates and is beneficial for guys as small as me, which I'm not that small, like 400 pounds, 6'7". Next is the Knurling. This is Rogue's Power Bar Knurling, which is generally considered to be one of the better Power Bar Knurlings in the world. Obviously, Knurling is subjective. It's very dependent upon the person that uses it. I think by and large, the Ohio Power Bar Knurling is some of the most liked knurling in the world, and myself included, I really like it. And to have a really good knurling on a specialty bar does matter. You're gonna be pressing with this, it's gonna be on your back. You do not want it to fall off, especially at higher weights. It does have single knurl marks, which are based on powerlifting. So for squatting, benching, easy to find where your hands are gonna be. It has a center knurl mark for evening up under the bar. In addition to that, it has brass bushings. These are self-oiling bronze bushings. These are the same things we see in Rogue's Ohio Power Bar. They now have them on a specialty bar. The coating on the center shaft is Cerakote. Cerakote is very corrosive resistant. It also allows you to do a color. It's not my favorite coating. I like nickel a lot. I also like the coating that's on the edge of this. Stainless would be much more expensive, especially at this thick of steel. I think Cerakote was a good choice. I think it looks good. I think it'll last a long time. It also allows them to put some branding here. Now the sleeve is using the exact same coating as they use on the Rogue 2.0 S bar. For a sleeve, if you want something that's not stainless and black, this is the best coating that's out there. I've got a bar that has this on it, the Leico Hybrid bar. It's a different coating. They say, it seems to me like it's the exact same coating. I don't know, neither one will tell me. That said, it just does not scratch. What it does is it scratches the plates, and so any marring or scarring you see on the sleeve is from the plate, not this. For me, in my opinion, this is the best sleeve coating that's out there, and so to have this on a specialty bar that often don't have the level of quality of most other bars, I think it's a great idea. This bar, obviously, due to the thickness of the steel, can handle an insane amount of weight. You will never outlift the amount of weight that this can have. It does have 16-inch sleeves, so it can hold a lot of weight, especially if you're using thin power plates. It feels extremely comfortable on the back due to the curve. It does have a bigger curve, a bigger drop than traditional Buffalo bars. This one says it has a 4.4-inch drop. Kabuki hasn't announced it has this much drop. They just call it a proprietary curve. That said, this one, when I put it next to the Duffalo, does look like it has a little bit more curve, and it does sit very comfortably on the back due to the thickness of the steel, but I don't think in using it, it feels that much different from the Duffalo in terms of the curvature. Now, let me tell you kind of what I think about it in use. So I've used this for both squat, bench press, and overhead press. Those are the lifts that I think most people will use this for, and for those movements, it feels very good. It feels exactly like I thought it would, which feels like the Duffalo bar, but even more comfortable due to the thickness of the steel. These are the things I don't like about the bar, and there's not a lot, to be honest. These are kind of nitpicky. Number one is a part of the knurling. This steel is so thick and requires so much pressing power to bend it into shape. The problem with that is it creates permanent indentations and blunting of the knurl on the top and the bottom. The Duffalo bar does not have that. And if you're used to the level of quality of a Rogue bar, this will be a little bit of a surprise to you because it is a blunt knurl. Again, when you're on it, you're holding it, you don't notice it, but it is there.
You can find if you're looking for it, but you won't notice it while lifting.
The other thing which is to be aware of is, again, nitpicky, is the steel. Like, this is thick steel, man, but it's not as smooth or as ground, as fine as Rogue's typical bars. Again, when I'm using it, I don't notice it, but I think it's worth calling out.
You won't notice it while lifting.
And then lastly are the shipping issues. My bar, when it showed up, was in a big fat tube. They're massive tubes. The ends were popped off. The duct tape had duct tape all around the edges. It was popped off. There were scratches on the end cap, but it wasn't a lot. Due to this coating, I was able to wipe them off and it looked fine. I've seen online though, a lot of people having issues with the shipping. I contacted Rogue and said that it popped off, all these issues. They said if there's any permanent damage, if anybody has issues, we will resend the bar. In addition to that, they're working on better shipping boxes with foam inserts so that that doesn't happen. So I like that Rogue, obviously they stand behind their products. Other than that, those are my call outs. So let's bring out the other Buffalo style bars that you're gonna look at, and I'll compare them directly to one another, starting with the Kabuki Strength Duffalo Bar. Okay, this is the reigning champion, the king, the Duffalo Bar. Out of all the Buffalo bars that are out there, this is the one that I use the most, and this is the one that's most highly regarded. This is the new entrant, the Rogue CB-4. The Kabuki Strength Duffalo Bar, designed by Chris Duffin, is a fantastic bar. I want to make that very clear before I start any of this. Honestly, it was one of the first really premium specialty bars, and I'm so glad that it came out. Now the question is the Duffalo bar worth buying over the CB-4? And the reason is the CB-4 is cheaper, and quite a bit cheaper. Like the Duffalo bar is around $620, not including shipping. The CB-4 is $495. So you're looking at $100+ difference for bars that are both very high quality. Here's what I'd say. I prefer the fact that I can buy from Rogue. I know they're gonna have a lifetime warranty. Not to say Kabuki doesn't have a good warranty, not to say they don't service it, but I think Rogue has a better track record at large than Kabuki does. And they've just had so many more transactions. They're just such a bigger company. And it's going to be in stock more. The Duffalo bar has been in and out of stock. Kabuki is trying to figure out how to scale manufacturing. So, by and large, they feel very similar. I like the nickel coating that's available on the Kabuki Duffalo bar, but I don't like it that much more than the Cerakote. If I was gonna choose between these, I'm gonna recommend them, I would choose the CB-4. I think it's just overall a better value. I think the knurling on the Duffalo bar is superior just because there's no blunts. It's just really perfect all throughout. I think the curvature is very similar. They feel similar on the back. They feel similar when I'm pressing, except the CB-4 is more comfortable because it's thicker. They're both extremely stable at heavy weights. This one has a little bit longer loading capacity on the sleeve, the Duffalo bar, but I don't think you need it. Overall, they are so similar. The difference comes down to price, and Rogue wins. $495, both made in the USA. I can understand why you'd go with Kabuki because it's just a fantastic bar. And I haven't fully decided which one I'll keep in my garage gym. Maybe both. I haven't decided which one I'll use more often, but for now, for my recommendation, the CB-4. Now, that was good timing. Yeah, it's mad at me. Now it's a sad face. Yeah, it's a happy face, actually. Now the Rogue is happy, the Duffalo is sad. It's okay. I still love you. I will use both of you. Now, there's two other bars out there that I think are worth considering. They are the Titan Yukon bar and the Fringe Sport Longhorn bar. I want to say something. The Fringe Sport Longhorn bar is not the same as the one I have and the one I initially reviewed. The one I initially reviewed was made in the USA, was very high quality. The new one, and I hate when companies do this, they kept the same name, but they outsourced the manufacturing to China, and it's now a completely different bar. I haven't used it, but looking at the specs online, it's a lower tensile strength. The knurling looks worse, where the Longhorn bar we reviewed and recommended was made in the USA and a very high quality bar. So you can't even get that one, so I haven't used the China one. I'm not even gonna recommend it. The other option is the Titan Yukon bar. We've done a full review on it, and my problem with the Yukon bar is although it's priced cheaper than these, the problem was I think it has an inherent safety issue, and that is every time I loaded a 45-pound plate, not a 100-pound plate, a 45-pound plate on one side, it flipped over. So like, it's hard for me to recommend something that isn't safe. So because of that, even though it's cheaper, I still think I'd go with one of these, and I'd go with the CB-4 most often. So all that said, the Buffalo bar that I think is king right now, after using, comparing the many that are out there, is the CB-4. I still understand why you get the Kabuki, because it's just dang good, and there's some about a Kabuki product, but for most people, this is the one. All right, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Have you used either of these? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Is there any out there that you're like, Coop, this one's really cheap. Why didn't you compare it? I'd love to hear from you, because maybe I'm just not aware of it, although that would be surprising, because I know everything that's out there. We'll see you next time. Peace.